Hey, this is Jason Motte. If you want your baseball news, listen to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer with JJ and Vince.
Hello and welcome to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer as JJ kind of moves his whole room. That's pretty cool, you know. Got your Mountain Dew, that's awesome.
Woohoo! Really, baby. Green for St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day, did you do anything?
No, not at all. Nothing.
That you didn't like catch a leprechaun or something like that?
I had some Lucky Charms. I had a little Lucky Charms in the morning. That's about it. Our family we are Irish and descendant, but listen to you two and eat Lucky Charms. That's about it.
Uh, yeah, we were supposed to go to Kathy's mom's house. She lives next door. She was making corned beef, cabbage, carrots, onions, that old stuff.
Oh
But she's
yeah.
been sick, so we've put that off. So we haven't even enjoyed our corned beef yet. Um, but I did walk around and I pinched everybody without green, and I did not know you had to spend the night in jail for that. That's called assault. The heck, man? She's having some fun. Uh,
Yeah, man. Times have changed.
yeah. Anyway, I do implore everybody to like us on Facebook. You can contact us through one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. For those of you who want to get a hold of us and tell us what awesome people we are. Those of you who are watching on the YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button and like us, and then you can have our information as soon as it drops. And for those of you who are faithful listeners, I'm going to give you a challenge. This is a challenge. This is an opening day challenge. Oh, hold on, something funky got on my computer. Opening day challenge. What I want you to do is I want you to share this with one baseball fan friend of yours who does not listen. All right,
Yeah.
because we're trying to get our algorithm up. We're after 2.5 years. We're trying to like become a relevant podcast because it took us 2.5 years to figure out what we're doing. And I know many of you don't think we really do know what we're doing. Maybe we don't, but at least we're better than we were when we started. So if you'd like to support us, you can support us through Patreon. Just go to patreon.com, search for One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer, and you can support us. And all your support is greatly appreciated. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show next week, we have a roundtable to start the Major League Baseball season. And if you would like to be on that roundtable, let us know because we'd like to have, I don't know, I don't know, a few
Yeah.
people on it. So,
Yeah, come on. I
um,
love the round table.
oh, I do too. Even though we're not round, I mean, we're
Well,
just
speak for
flat.
yourself. I'm round.
Uh, uh, JJ and I were talking before we started recording, and we had some horrible storms on Friday night. And I want to tell you something. Our house sits on a corner lot, and across the street, there's a lot without a house on it. There's not a house for about probably 50, 60 yards from us. And so this golf ball size hail is not only coming from the sky, but it is blown by 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And this heavy hail is hitting our house. It sounded like we were under siege. It sounded like we were under fire. And we had three windows broke. One of our kitchen windows completely broke out, and we had hail flying into the kitchen, in across the room into the refrigerator. There was nothing we could do about it. And so when everything kind of cooled down, I went outside, and the whole west side of our house looks like Swiss cheese. We have white siding on the house, and it is just riddled with holes. And it's just amazing how much damage was done. But the other three parts of the house, the north, south, and east side of the house, there is not a thing wrong with it. We've called the insurance guy. I haven't heard from him yet because they're a little bit busy right now. And I don't know if there's any roof damage, but we certainly have three windows that need to be replaced. We need the whole west side re-sided, and we're probably going to get new gutters and downspouts on that because they're all dented up. It's a mess. It is a mess, but once that was over with, I had to quickly put cardboard over the window. Um, wasn't really safe to go outside yet because next thing we know, after we get that cardboard over the window and sweep up the glass, the tornado whistles go off, and outside it's like, oh my gosh, it's blowing and coming in. Lisa was inhaling. So I go and I grab Bing Bong, of course, because he's my kitty. And I take him to the basement. We have to go outside to go to our basement because we have an old house and it is blowing and raining. And Bing Bong is just like clinging to me, like, oh my gosh, get him to the basement. Kathy could not get Tuffy. So I had to go up and I'm like trying to get Tuffy. I'm thinking, if I get blown away, picking up this cat that's avoiding me. So I grabbed Tuffy finally, and he's like carrying a brick. And, I rush him downstairs with all the rain going on and everything. Gizmo had snuck outside, so we had no idea where Gizmo was. And finally, she reemerged. But we were in the basement for about 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, just got quiet. It's like it was just over as soon as it started. So thankfully, everybody's okay. JJ, what kind of damage did you have?
Some siding on the side of the house. We knew this was coming for a while. We got a basement, and me, Faith, Brody, and his girlfriend, and two cats. We went down there and just listened to the radio. But down here, I'm in Potosi, and we had 4 fires. Some, I think, transformers fell over, caught some fields on fire. The wind was so powerful that fire just spread. So they shut down Highway 8 for a while and was out there in that terrible. God love the firemen and our just people out there fighting the fires, because during that bad storm, they're out there fighting fires, and there was 4 of them. And so we had some fire people from other areas come down and help out. But as far as Potosi goes, I think everybody's safe and sound. But I know we have people that listen and watch in Arkansas and Paragould and Marmaduke and Jonesboro. They got hit pretty hard down there. So our thoughts and prayers are with everybody. And man, springtime, it's nice to get winter over, but it seems like when it heats up like quick like this, we always get these storms in the springtime.
Yeah, I don't anticipate we're going to have things fixed till probably summer, because every house in Peevely, the west side of every house is just like, we got the worst of it because we had that lot next to us and there was just nothing to stop it. But every house, the west end of their house, no matter if it was front of the house, the back of the house, or one of the sides of the house, it just looks like Capone's gang just went through there and just used the Tommy gun and shot everything up.
Man,
so
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, hey, man, we're okay.
But you're safe and sound. That's the main thing. And golly, if it ain't one thing, it's another. I just when I think I'm getting ahead, something happens. So, gosh.
If it ain't one thing, it's another. Well, JJ, it is that time we do the March
beer time.
And I went. I've kind of went out of the box for the last few. So I went with something that you can get in any local grocery store except the Aldi's. In any local grocery store, any liquor store, any convenience store. It's a very popular beer. It is the Michelob Amberbach.
So, very nice.
So, Mich Ultra is one of my favorites. So I have high hopes for this. And I got my world's greatest grandpa mug. But
I didn't want you to drink. I didn't want you drinking alone, so I brought a Mountain Dew to the party. Yes. Nectar of the gods, ladies and gentlemen.
I have had rumors that there's a guy named Dennis Johnson. He is a 61-year-old man who lives in Fresno, California, and purportedly he's the world's greatest grandpa. And I just don't believe it. I mean, everything I read online and all the newspapers and the books I read, I'm the world's greatest grandpa because I got the frickin' mug to tell me I am. So
when you're on top of the hill, they're always coming up there to try and knock you off, Vince.
Right. I mean, some of these aren't even grandpas yet. They just have like children who are expecting, and it's
Yeah, they don't count yet.
kind of a tough thing. So, Michelob Amber Bock is brewed by Anheuser-Busch using 100% malt, including dark roasted black and caramel malts and all imported hops, which gives it this nice dark color.
Yes.
It is known for its rich amber color, smooth, full body taste, and a roasted malt flavor that finishes cleanly because nobody wants dirty beer. Okay. Anheuser-Busch first introduced Michelob Amber Bock nationally in 1995. Do you know what was going on in 1995?
1995. It was a year after strike in baseball. 95. I'm not sure. The Michelob beer came out.
I'll tell you. As we said last week, one of my favorite all-time bands is Live. And 1995 at Hollywood Casino, which was then called Riverport Amphitheater, in July of 1995, 30 years ago, was the first time I saw Live in concert. PJ Harvey opened for Live, and it was a fantastic concert. I've seen them twice since then. Once at Rib Fest that they have like in St. Charles or something. And then another time I saw them at when they used to do concerts at the Arch Grounds. So I've seen them 3 times, but to my amazement, I have found out that they are going to be going back to Hollywood Casino, which is Riverport Amphitheater, this July. So it will be 30 years from the first time I saw them. I'm going to see them again. I know I got a Violet's going, Evelyn and her boyfriend Tony are going. Probably Tabitha and Mondo will go. So I'll have 3 of my kids go. Max is in Omaha and Rebecca's in Memphis, so I don't expect them to go. So that'd be kind of cool. But it's them and Collective Soul. People remember December and
I think they're the best group of the 90s. The Collective Soul is my favorite band of the 90s. Love those guys.
Well, we're gonna go see Live in Collective Soul. I'm pretty juiced about that.
Heck yeah.
So and then Cake is also coming to the Factory in June, and Kathy's a big Cake fan. So I told Kathy, I'll go see Cake with you, but you have to wear a short skirt and a long jacket.
Hey, there you go.
We will get in the car and we will go the distance. So if you're a Cake fan,
Vince, you're on it tonight, man. I'm waving the white flag. That was great.
Okay, so anyway, back to the beer. First introduced by Anheuser-Busch in 1995. It's an American style Bock beer. That's why it's Amber Bock. And it is available in bottles and cans. And I use the bottle into the glass and into the mouth.
Yes. Refreshing.
4.5.
4.5. That's pretty high right there. Have you ever had a bad one? Are they all just terrific?
A bad beer?
A bad, that particular kind.
Amber Bock?
Yeah.
Nah, it's not like a dark beer like that's a harsh beer like a Guinness or something like that. It's not like one of those strong beers. It's got a smooth taste, but it does. You can taste the caramelized hops in there that gives it its distinct Bock taste. But you'll also notice there's no head on this. You're not going to get a head on an Amber Bock. So
very nice.
Yes, it is. So, JJ, besides almost getting blown away, how was your week?
You know what, Vince? Except for almost getting blown away, fantastic. First of all, I'm always look on the wrong side. Got my St. Patty's Cardinal jersey out right there. We got the 4-leaf clover and the STL on the sleeve. How about that? I'm going to go through the week kind of fast, but every day there was a baseball type of thing. I came home Friday and there was a box Faith had for me. She goes, "Oh, I got you something." So Vince, I'm going to show this to you, and you try to guess what this is. Okay, hang on. Let me get this on here. You know what this is? I thought it was.
So you can read the back of the baseball cards?
Yes. But Vince, when I opened it up, I thought it was, hang on, there's a thing right here. Let me see if I can figure it out. There's a switch. Well, heck, there's a light on here, and I can't get it to work right now. But this part lights up, and I thought it was like those influencers have those screens that make their skin look softer. You know what I mean? When they're over there. Well, shoot, I can't get the darn thing to work right now. But there is a light that comes on there, and oh, there we go. So
Hey.
that's what it does right there. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And I can read the back of the baseball cards now. And my wife, she is a gadget queen. We have so many gadgets around here, things like that. All right. So here's my week. Friday, I live in Potosi, Missouri. The Potosi boys high school basketball team made it to the final eight, and they had a game Friday night. It got canceled because of the weather. And it was Clayton. So they rescheduled it for Saturday. I was supposed to go to Arkansas. I had some baseball things going on down there, but we stayed home, and Brody went to the basketball game, and Potosi won. Brody said a great game. So now Friday, Potosi
So they beat those rich snobs from Clayton.
They beat those Clayton kids. Yeah. I didn't watch it, but Brody said it was the funnest high school game he ever watched. He said it was so much fun to watch and be there. But Friday, they go to Columbia, and they play in the semifinals, and they're playing Vashon. Oh, Class 4A. Vashon's known to always have a very good basketball program. Potosi has never won the state championship. They've had some good teams, but we'll see what happens. So they play Friday no matter what, and then Sunday or Saturday they either play for the championship or they play the third and fourth place bracket game for third and fourth place. So kind of pulling for those kids. But Saturday we had a whole bunch of high school kids here, anywhere from a year out of school to all the way down to first grade. And they came in and was looking at my baseball stuff. And Vince, I held court. I talked to those kids about baseball, and I said, "Who's your favorite player?" And and Brody goes, "Well, Dad's on a podcast." And this kid goes, "Are you famous?" And I said, "Oh, come on now." Well, yes, I am. So I showed the kids cards. We talked baseball. So we may pick up some viewers there because I talked baseball with those kids for about an hour, and it was so much fun. And two of the kids were like first graders, and they were thinking about playing Little League. And I said, "Oh, come on, you'll have a good time. You meet some of the best friends you ever make." And chicks dig baseball, and they blushed, and they go, "Really? Girls like that?" I said, "Oh yeah, they like that baseball. I played baseball my whole life, no chicks, so that doesn't really equate out." But I told the kids that. So that was that day. Went to Tony Pruno's. He's doing a 3D thing of all the Hall of Famers, and he got all my cards except for a few. And Vince, I kept a few. Tony, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but I kept a 1970 Ernie Banks. Look at that. Oh yeah, pristine. I love the little cub on the sleeve. And I'll just show two more. Tom Seaver. There's a Tom Seaver 1970, and then Willie Mays 1970 3D. You can't beat that, man. So it was over at Tony's. Basically, we traded some cards and stuff, and he got me watching Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. I don't know if you've seen that show, but he put it on, and it was just running consecutively, all these episodes. It's adult content, but it's a very, very good show. We watched like 4 episodes together. So I saw Tony Pruno, went down to a Boys Dream hobby shop, and I finished, over here, right there, I finished my Edmonds exhibit. I got one where he's catching a ball, and it says, Jim Edmonds, 8-time Gold Glover. I got that. And then the card, and then a flag of baseballs, bats on there. So that's kind of what I worked on this weekend. And they gave us some cards to give away and promote their next signing coming up. So next week, Vince, if it's okay, I'm going to have about 4 items. And throughout the show, throughout the round table, we'll just stop, pick a name out. But he gave me a Ray Langford card that's autographed and a Jim Edmonds card that's autographed. So if that's okay, next week we'll, to get the season started. And we're so thankful for everybody that just joins in and puts their 2 cents in and listens and watches. that we're going to have a giveaway next week, and we'll have about 3 or 4 items. I'm going to get a couple more items, and we'll do that next week to mark the beginning of the baseball season. And let's see. Oh, me and Brody bought chances. They have a old card. They had all these sets, box sets and stuff where they were opening cards, and we put our names in and paid. And Brody had 2 teams. He had the Angels and the Tigers, and I had the Pirates. And I got about 3 or 4 Paul Skeens rookies out of that. So hey, wow. go Paul Skeens.
Now you got retirement.
I'm retiring, baby. Yeah. 5 years and 9 months is the plan, but those Skeens cards take off. Look out. And then this morning, Vince, and this is going to lead us into the beginning of the season. I know the game started at 5. I laid there for a minute, hit the snooze, and I got up and I watched about the 3rd through the 7th inning this morning of the beginning of the season. And Vince, it's just good to have baseball back. And I tell you what, the Tokyo Dome looked great. The Japanese fans were very respectful, and it was just kind of electric atmosphere for opening day, and I really enjoyed that. So that was basically my week full of baseball excitement and fun this week.
Very good, very good. Besides a big storm, I don't know if anything exciting happened in my week. So nothing great's going on. Oh, let's go ahead and get into some baseball here.
Ooh.
Have you seen what Joey Gallo has decided to do?
Yes, decided to pivot and become a pitcher.
Now, he is 31, and the White Sox released him. He was trying to make the roster, and then he put out on social media that he's going to pivot and become a pitcher. Now, he does have a great arm. In 2022, his average throw, not just throwing the ball into the infield, but average throw on a play, trying to gun a runner, his average throw was 94 miles per hour. So, yeah, he's always been known to have a good arm. The issue that I see is I don't think he's ever going to make the majors as a pitcher, because the first thing he's got to do is he's got to learn control. He's got to throw secondary pitches, and he's going to start doing that. Probably some team will give him something in low A, or he'll have to go to independent or something. And by the time he would get to the point where he could pitch, and, sure, he pitched growing up and stuff like that, but when you've been concentrating as a hitter and all this other stuff, you've never pitched on a professional level, it's very difficult to make that transition. So by the time he would be ready, he's going to be in his mid-30s. So I don't ever see that happening. But I do admire his, yeah, I got a great arm. I'm going to try pitching. He doesn't need the money. He's made a ton of money in baseball. He's had some great years. He's had some all-stars, but the last few years, he's not been a good player at all. I think he's won Dodgers, Yankees, Texas White Sox. He's kind of bounced around a little bit. So, good luck, Joey Gallo.
Vince, he is a terrific athlete. And like you said, 2 all-star appearances, 2 gold gloves, known for his arm in the outfield, but you're right. Throwing from the outfield to the infield or home is completely different than pitching. But Vince, I give this guy a lot of credit. He's played 10 years in the big leagues. He could retire now and have a pension. He's got his 10 years in. But, his lifetime batting average is only 194. He spent 10 years in the big leagues with a batting average of 194. I think that's kind of remarkable. I know they don't really hang on batting averages like they used to. I think his on base is in the 300s, but for only hitting 194, that's pretty good. He strikes out a lot, and he has 206 home runs, I believe. But for a guy that struck out a lot and doesn't have a very high batting average, he played a long time in the majors. I know when I saw him play in Texas, he hit a home run and he had a foul ball in the upper deck. A lot of power that just struck out. I wish him all the best. there have been other players that have pivoted and became pitchers, but like you said, Vince, it was at a younger age.
Yeah.
He's later in the game, but some of the guys I had written down, well, Jason Motte, our friend Jason Motte, friend of the show, Jason Motte, he switched. Kenley Jensen, I did not know he was he was also a catcher. Sean Doolittle, Dave Steeb, Joe Nathan was a shortstop, and Bob Lemon. I never knew Bob Lemon was an infielder, but he pivoted, became a pitcher, and became a very good pitcher. So, like you said, yeah, yeah. So I wish him all the luck in the world. Usually a knuckleballer might be able to do it because knuckleballers can stick around a while, but he's got that electric arm. So you throw some knuckleballs and throw a fastball, that could be something to see. But big story, and we wish him all the luck, and maybe we'll track him every once in a while and see what he's up to, where he's at, and who he's with.
Yeah, Bob Force started as a position player too,
Right.
and
Stan Musial was an outfield, was a pitcher, I think, at first, and then he switched outfield.
Well, Rick Ankiel started
Oh,
pitching, and then he started endangering lives, so he went to the outfield. So
I've never seen anybody have yips like that. It's just all of a sudden one day he just lost it or something. I had never seen that before.
yeah, Steve Blass was a little before our times. I've seen position players get the yips. Chuck Knobloch,
Steve Sachs.
yeah, Steve Sachs also got the yips. John Lester could not do a pickoff throw to first base.
No.
Yeah, it's just the mental block that happens. But to see it in a playoff game just completely take hold of such a promising pitcher, rookie pitcher, and all of a sudden he's everywhere. And people gave LaRussa a lot of grief for putting him out there, a few more times. I think he tried one more in the playoffs, and
Yeah,
just
didn't have it.
What's he going to do? Is he going to trust the guy that he's seen all year long, or is he going to think, well, he just can't pitch anymore? I mean, I'd throw him out there again thinking that was just an anomaly. But
I'm with you, Vince. If you think, oh no, if the team around you said, we got you, we're going to do this, they give him every opportunity. I'm with you. He pitched that great all year. You think, all right, you're just going to go out and do it, because if you'd said him, he'd probably lose all his confidence then, or get in his head even more. So
yeah. They call that Steve Blass disease, even though it's not a disease. It's the mental block. And Steve Blass was a pitcher for the Pirates in the 60s. And in the early 70s, he just suddenly couldn't find the plate at all, and retired, and then became a commentator. But it happens. It happens. And there was an outfielder, first baseman named Mike Ivy in the 70s. He was a first round draft choice. He may have been the number one pick one year. And he got a form of the yips hitting. He kind of forgot how to hit. And it was a mental thing. And I mean, he went to go see psychiatrists and everything, and he had to retool his hitting. And he actually did become a decent hitter. He had one year that was really good. I think he had about 28 home runs for the Giants. But and I think maybe he started off as a catcher. But yeah, sometimes, it can happen on both sides of the ball. You don't see it very often with hitters, but you do see sometimes where a hitter suddenly, I don't want to say forgets how to hit, but they get some kind of a mental block, and it can't be overcome. Mitchell Page had that issue after his great rookie season with the A's, and Mike Ivy had that issue. And usually hitters can overcome it a bit, but when you got the yips and you're throwing, it's pitching or an infielder who's trying to throw the ball. It's just like, it's over. It's over.
I admire these athletes, these professionals, because they've worked their way up. They're the best of the best. They're probably the best that's ever played in their area. You're doing your job, and not only you're doing your job, you got TV cameras on you. These great players on the other team are all good, and they can all hit. And then you've got 30,000 to 50,000 people in the stands, and everybody's looking at you, and
Yeah.
everything and as a pitcher, the whole game can't start till you do what you do. I can't even imagine the stress of that. And then you got the playoffs and everything else. Oh, good gracious. And Vince, I found my spot right here in this chair, watching those guys and admiring them. And that's about all I can do.
When I was growing up, the first few years I played Little League, I played second base. And I don't know what it was. I had trouble making the throw to first. I don't know why I did, but um, I eventually just, I guess I was about 11 or 12 years old. I started playing the outfield and I had a good arm. And as long as I could air it out, I was fine. But making the short throws on the infield, for some reason, I was having trouble doing that. I mean, I wasn't like throwing the ball to first and it was going to left field, but my throws would just be a little off, pull the first baseman off the bag and stuff like that. So, um, and I didn't have a coach or anything. I just one day decided I'm going to try the outfield. I can
Yeah.
worry
Oh,
about throwing
yeah.
or so. Oh, um, couple moves that I thought were interesting. The Dodgers have sent Hye-Sung Kim, um, who they paid a lot of money to out of the KBA. They sent him to the minors, and Bobby Miller was also sent to the minors. So they didn't make the opening day um, roster. And that just shows how deep this Dodger team is.
Oh,
Hey, we're gonna
my gosh.
outbid everybody for this infielder from Korea, and then well, stick him in the minors. Bobby Miller, who's got a great arm.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about him a few weeks ago. How the first game of the spring training, um, gosh, I
Oh, he
can't
took one.
remember who he hit a ball right off his head. I don't remember who did it though, but so that was kind of interesting. They're so talented. They got two guys who definitely have major league talent just sitting in their minor leagues because they don't have any room for them.
And Vince, like you said, that Dodgers are so talented. You said this last week. They have two pitching staffs. They
Yeah,
have two. They have the A and a 2A.
yeah, yeah. Um, Hunter Strickland signs a minor league contract with the Rangers. And I sure thought that he was gone and that I would see him on social media calling out Bryce Harper for a boxing match for charity. Um, but
Oh,
uh, I don't get Hunter Strickland. Um, he gives up a home run to Harper in the playoffs. And then was it the next year he throws at him and I'm thinking, okay, well, there was no reason that he got you in the playoffs. Okay, it happens to people. Grow up.
yes.
So anyway, I did find this interesting. Um, I was perusing CBS Sports and Matt Snyder, he put out this morning what he felt are the top 10 aesthetically pleasing stadiums in baseball.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll go over some of these surprised me. At number 10, he's got Minute Maid in Houston. Yeah, that's kind of a pretty park, Haven't
I've been there, and it's nice. I like the roof that can go back and forth in the train. Very nice additions, but there's no parking. Absolutely no parking around that stadium.
so so little JJ likes to choo choo.
I like the choo choo.
This was surprising because I've seen so many people trash this stadium, but I've always thought I've never been there, but I've always thought it looks good whenever there's a game on and I'm watching. He has number 9 Angel Stadium. And he's talking about the rocks out there and everything that makes it just aesthetically pleasing. Now I know a lot of people when they say they don't like Angel Stadium, it's the outside walking in and stuff like that. I guess it's got some issues. I don't know. I've never been there, but I just know when I watch a game there from my seat and I'm seeing the inside of the stadium, it looks pretty cool. And so he's got Angel Stadium number 9. Have you ever been there?
I have. My grandmother took me and my sister in 1979 out to California, and she said, "What would you guys like to do?" And I said, "I'd like to see the." We were out in the Bay Area, but we went down to Anaheim. I think we went to Disneyland, and I wanted a media guide. They said we don't have time to go to a game, but and they said, "Do you want something?" I said, "I want a media guide." And this was 1979. I walk in. I'm probably like an eighth grader. I walk in and I'd say, "I'd like to get a media guide," and they said, "Oh, go ahead and go up." I hit the elevator. I go all the way to the top. I'm up there where like Gene Autry's offices are, and I said, "Can I get a media guide?" And they said, "Why, sure." And I talked to the executives and stuff, and there I was up in the thing. So that was my experience in California Angel Stadium, and they didn't have the rocks in the outfield at
Yeah,
the time or anything at that time. But 79, they were, starting to come into a pretty good team. And
yeah.
Gene Autry was wanting to win one, while he was still around. But it was an okay stadium. It was fine.
Now, did they win the West in '79?
Vince, I don't know. 82 is what I remember. They were in the playoffs
Yeah.
against the Brewers, and that's what I really remember there. But they went out and got like an all-star team and really was pushing for the world championship. And so
I
they
know
didn't have.
I know it had to have been '79 because '78 the Royals, '77 the Royals, '76 the Royals, '75 the no, wait a minute.
80 was the Royals. That was the Phillies and the
Yeah,
Royals.
I'm going back. '78 was the Royals and Yankees. '77 was the Royals and Yankees. Uh, '76 was the Royals and Yankees too. Then '75 Oakland won the division. '74, '73, '72 was Oakland. So I'm pretty sure '79 the Angels made the playoffs that year. They still had Ryan. I remember they had Chris Knapp pitching on that staff too. Don Baylor won the MVP. So yeah, I'm pretty sure
Maybe
they.
Tanana might have been
Yeah,
there, and
I
Brian
think he
Downing.
was a little banged up at that time. So yeah, they had
Yeah, he
Bobby
was.
Rush. They were a good team. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So number 8, they have Coors Field, which I would love to go to, but
Never
I
been.
haven't been to. It looks so pretty.
It
Uh,
does.
and I really would like to see arena baseball. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Uh, go see Chris Bryant, of course.
Oh,
He will be
bless
injured.
his heart.
Number 7, at one time, this was considered the number one ballpark, I'm sure, when it first opened, Camden Yards.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I've not been there. I've heard it's a lot of fun and it's a great baseball atmosphere and the sense because they got some great food there is just awesome and I would like to go there.
And they
Um,
spray the fans in the bird bath. They got that bird bath area. And they spray them when a home run goes off and stuff. And you got the what is it? The factory or whatever that big
Warehouse. Yeah,
warehouse. Thank you out there. It looks like it's like new meets the traditional kind of
yeah.
together there. I
They
dig
did.
that.
That was like the first stadium that they built that wasn't like a cookie cutter. That's let's make this aesthetically unique,
Yeah.
and they did that. Number 6, I agree with because I still think it's a beautiful stadium, even though they're needing to move, is Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. The reason why they're wanting to move is because Kauffman Stadium and Arrowhead, they're on the same grounds. That's nowhere near downtown. It's kind of like in a suburban area by Independence. And so they're wanting to move the stadium downtown because everything is shown. When you put a stadium downtown, it really helps the businesses in the city. So Kauffman Stadium's been there since I think 72, excuse me, 72 or 73, so about 50 years. So they've got a good use of it. It's still pretty.
Yeah.
The waterfalls are pretty. I haven't been there since they've redid it, but I've probably been to about 8 or 9 ball games here, and I just think it's a beautiful stadium.
I like the easy parking. They've got those big parking lots. They're all around the area, plenty of parking. People tailgate. there's a sense of hey, and everybody. I saw church groups out there and little league kids, and it's really good. And at one time they had the biggest scoreboard, that big crown scoreboard in the outfield, and that's classic. I never want to sit where I'm facing the field and it's behind me. I want to sit where I can see. That's the biggest part of the show, is the big scoreboard as well. So I do love Kansas City. I have a special place in my heart for it.
Number five, they have Dodger Stadium. Have you been there?
No, I am not.
No,
No, I
I
haven't.
and it's an older stadium. I think it's the oldest in the National League besides Wrigley now. And
Wow.
beautiful stadium. It's getting rough. There's violence out there. It's kind of getting a reputation over the last few years, especially when the Giants are in town. So uh, number four, I have been here and I agree. One of the most beautiful ballparks I have seen, PNC Ballpark in Pittsburgh. Have you been there?
No, but every list I see, it's usually one or two
It,
PNC, and
it's,
it looks beautiful. I like the colors. I want to go there one day for sure.
it is beautiful. Number three, they have Fenway. I've not been to Fenway. I've been by Fenway, but I've not been there. So I've seen it in person. I
Yeah,
just haven't been inside. Um, if I go, I would like to sit on the bleachers above the Green Monster. That would be fun. So,
that would be great.
uh, okay, I will let you guess number two and number one.
Number two and number one. Well, I'm going to put Wrigley at number one.
Wrigley is number one, yes.
And can I tell you, I agree. I love Wrigley Field. I haven't been to Fenway, but the classic ballpark, the neighborhood, it's not quite the neighborhood it was back when I was in the Navy in the 80s, where, but they got more stuff to do around there. But I did love that. The bars have batting cages. You can sit on the rooftops. Vince and Max got to do that this year. But inside, it's like history comes to life. They have made some, they used to they just used to have the manual scoreboards. Well, now they have the HD ones, and that's cool. But and you still got the ivy, and man, it's just special. It's just a special place, Vince. And as a Cardinal fan, they're very nice to me. I don't go in there running my yapper or nothing. I'm just grateful. Oh, isn't Wrigley nice and good bunch of people? It's a good place to see a ballpark, and you couldn't have a better time.
Yeah. Okay, guess number two. Number two, I would have thought was number one. I haven't been there.
San Diego?
No.
No, I like the look of the San Diego field. Let me think about this for a second. My goodness, I'm thinking about like Toronto's kind of older now. Uh Vince, I'm kind of losing it. I don't know. I'm thinking about that. Oh, San Francisco.
That's right. Oracle Park in San Francisco is number two. I want to go see a game there so bad. I know the cost of living is astronomical in San
Ooh.
Francisco, so if I ever do go there, I'll be staying at like a Fleabag motel on the Oakland side. But I would love to go there. I've got a friend, and she is the biggest San Francisco Giants fan I met. So I sent her this list this morning and said, "Look, we're number two and number one." So, um, but here's a few things that I liked San Diego Stadium. I was surprised it wasn't in here. I like the look of it, and I like watching the Padres when they're at home. If I'm watching a late night game, it used to be I would try to watch a Dodger game because I love just listening to Vin Scully. But since he's passed away, um, I like I like watching those games in San Diego because the ballpark is so pretty. The announce team is very enthusiastic, and they've had some really great teams the last 4 or 5 years. So that's been fun to watch. This ballpark is so maligned, and I wasn't expecting anything out of it. But a couple of years ago, when Max and I went to Cleveland, I love the stadium. A huge concourse, so you're not bumping into people. Um, and I don't think there's a bad seat there. It's a small ballpark. It may be the smallest in capacity in Major League Baseball right now. But I just thought it was a beautiful stadium. So I don't know why the people don't like that. But I thought, man, I kind of like this. And then there's a few that um, Seattle, I think, is a pretty stadium when I see it. I don't know how pretty it is, but when I'm watching games on TV, I'm thinking that's a pretty stadium. And I think the problem with the Seattle stadium is it's so big, the games tend to be low scoring, which people think are boring. And so I think that kind of bleeds into their perception of the stadium. But when I see the stadium, I think that looks pretty good. There's a few stadiums that I just do not like. I do not like watching a game at the Trop, and God didn't either, so he blew it away. So um, I don't like watching a game in Miami. The only thing I liked about that stadium was when they had the fish tank, and now they've taken that out, and they took the weird sculptor and put it outside, and now it's just a boring stadium, and they have no fans that show up. There's just no atmosphere. Tough to watch a game there. I think I don't know if they still call it the Rogers Center in Toronto. I think that is a very boring ballpark to watch a game in. It's just a bunch of concrete with a hotel and offices back there. So there's a few that I don't like. I'm not a big fan of where the Mets play, where the name of that stadium, but
I just remember Shea. I can't remember.
yeah,
Sitco? Is it Sitco maybe?
it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that ballpark. But I thought that the even though I don't agree with everything on here, I thought he did a good job of just not going to, well, Yankee Stadium because it's in New York and it's huge, stuff like that. I thought he did a pretty good job being quite fair, and I was surprised when I saw, oh, Kauffman Stadium is on here, which it's kind of overlooked because it's Kansas City. And then Angel Stadium, which I always thought looked pretty cool, he put it on the list. Nice. So
Yeah. Vince, you hit it on the head. The Seattle, I've been to the Kingdome and I've been to the new one. And it's just the thing I like about Wrigley is everything you're a part of the game. You got the field and the fans are right there on top of everything. In Seattle, it seems like you're so far away from the field. You're looking at the scoreboard and stuff. I mean, you can watch the game, but it's not as intimate as it is at Wrigley. If I made a list, I've never been there, but Yankee Stadium, just for the history, I almost put Yankee Stadium with uh, not looking as good as Wrigley, but with all that history and the plaques out there, and uh, I'd have to give them kind of a special pick in there because of all that, in Fenway Park, of course. Um, One of the things, so you talked about the cookie cutter stadiums that came around in the 60s. They were practical because you had like Cincinnati, it was a football and a baseball stadium, but if you were dropped down in it, unless you saw the colors of the team, you wouldn't know what stadium you're in. Pittsburgh and St. Louis. And I'm a traditional guy. I like, I hate change. And when they were talking about a new stadium here in St. Louis, I was like, no, all the history and then the Cardinals. But Vince, once we got that new stadium, I remember Jack Buck talking, you fans are going to love it when you get it. You deserve it. And we got that new stadium with that baseball village across the street. Man, it's a big upgrade. Now, I wouldn't put it in the top 10. To me, it's my stadium and I love it, but I'm with you. But Oakland, now that they're in this little bitty place, Vince, it reminds me of the old days. They had so much foul territory that it was a pitcher's park. Nowadays, the balls just goes into the stands, and these batters are getting more chances because of all the foul balls. But in Oakland, that was an out. That was a pop up. They had all that room out there to get all these foul balls and everything. And I think some of those the differences in the stadiums maybe has affected some of the batting averages and the ERAs and things like that, perhaps. So but anyway, I think we're in a good place. You almost can't go to a major league city and not have a good time. They got so much fun, and doing things for the fans and just things like that. So I agree. Those were 10 great stadiums right there.
Yeah, the absolute worst stadium that I can think of in my lifetime is the Trop. It's terrible, worse than the Kingdome, worse than the Metrodome. You can probably guess I don't like the old dome stadiums. The new ones at like Miller Park and
Yeah, that's nice.
with the retractable roofs, I like that. But um, even worse than that, the worst stadium in my lifetime was that giant toilet bowl they had in Montreal.
Oh, it's falling apart. Yeah,
That was terrible.
they deserve better. That
They
that
they they did. They deserved better. They deserved to still have a major league team. If it wasn't mismanaged, they would still have a major league team. Um, so, and there's a lot of fine ballparks that I like. I like the new Busch Stadium. I like the stadium in Washington. I like the stadium in Philadelphia. I when I watch these games, and I don't think, wow, that's a bad stadium. But there are some places you just watch, you think, gosh, man, this is tough to watch. The aesthetics are not that good. Now, when I was growing up and the football Cardinals were still in town, I did not like Busch Stadium. It
okay.
it had the turf and everything, but when the football Cardinals stopped playing, and then they renovated Old Busch and they put the grass in, I thought fantastic. It was good. The upgrades were really good. But then when they decided they were going to build a new stadium, I thought, well, I don't know. They've done all these renovations here. It's got the grass in it now. It looks a lot better. Is this worth it? Once they built the new stadium and they hadn't had Ballpark Village yet, I thought, well, this is kind of a disappointment. But once they got Ballpark Village there, it's like, okay, here's the atmosphere. It looks good now. And I know they were trying to replicate like what Coors did, like what Wrigley has, get a neighborhood there where things are going on during the ball game, before the ball game, after the ball game, keep people downtown, and they'll go to the restaurants and they will um, spend money downtown, which is what they really needed. And I think that they kind of nailed that on the head when they built the new ballpark and got uh, um, Ballpark Village finished.
From that viewpoint of home plate, you've got the baseball village, and you got the Capitol, that little Capitol building, and then the arch. I think it's kind of a sweet view right there. It's kind of pretty cool. I remember watching the All-Star game when it opened that year, and they had the All-Star game there, and it's just watching balls fly towards the arch and the Capitol, and then go down and hit in the bleachers. Kind of a cool view right there. So I'm pretty proud of it myself.
You have any other opening?
Yeah, I have some numbers. This is kind of not trivia, but it's kind of interesting and fun. I went over the career of Nolan Ryan because it was so long. And Nolan Ryan came up September 11th, 1966, at the age of 19 years old. We were talking a while ago about stress. Can you imagine being a 19-year-old kid and you're in New York City?
Alvin, Texas, by the way.
Yes, you're from this little town, Alvin, Texas. You're in New York City pitching for the Mets. That's amazing. And he retired after finally an arm injury, September 22nd, 1993. And to put this in a little perspective, check this out. The number one album when Nolan Ryan came into the major leagues was Revolver by the Beatles. That's pretty amazing. The number one album when he retired was In Pieces by Garth Brooks. So we go from Revolver and the Beatles to In Pieces and Garth Brooks. That's pretty cool. The number one song in the United States when he came into the league was You Can't Hurry Love by Diana Ross and the Supremes. My gosh, that seems a little ancient right there. And the number one song the day he retired was Dream Lover by Mariah Carey. So we go from Diana Ross to Mariah Carey. The president this is the last thing I have on this timeline thing, was Lyndon Baines Johnson. And I believe it's 6 or 7 presidents later, when he retired, it was Bill Clinton. So how about that? All that time period went by, and the one constant was Nolan Ryan was in the league striking people out. I think that's pretty darn cool right there. Vince, here's a trivia question. If you guys ever go to a trivia contest, this is a great trivia question. Now, I don't know how useful it'll be any other way, but there was a pitcher who originally pitched 3 straight games in the major leagues. And this was 1917. The guy's name was Red Farber, and he pitched for the Chicago White Sox. And he started both games of a doubleheader, and then the next day, then went to St. Louis and pitched the next day. So the first game of the doubleheader, he pitched 4.2 innings. The second game, he pitched 1 1/3. And the game 3, he threw a complete game in those 3 starts, 2 in 1 day, and the next day threw a complete game. Red Farber pitched for 20 years, had a 67.4 WAR, and he was 254 wins and 213 losses and a 3.15 ERA. And that's amazing. And he won 20 games with the White Sox 4 times. Now, that's an amazing stat. 3 straight starts. But, Vince, here's the trivia question. Can you name a pitcher in 2012 that started 3 straight games in the major leagues? There was one pitcher since 1917, not quite 100 years later, 95 years later, he does, and it's kind of a unique stat here. I didn't know this at all.
My guess would be either R.A. Dickey or Tim Wakefield, because they're knuckleballers.
Knuckleball. You know what? Great guesses. I did not know this, so I'm not going to ask all high and mighty. Oh, look, I know the answer. I just bumped into this, and it's amazing. The pitcher is Zach Greinke. As that one guy said, here's the rest of the story. I forgot who said that, but yeah, here it is. Here's the rest of the story. On July 7th, Paul Harvey, that's it. I love
huge Paul Harvey fan.
Oh, yeah. Well, he'll give you the rest of the story. Here it is. July 7th, he only threw 4 pitches, and he got thrown out of the game. There was a play at first, and he was indignant. He was like, oh, and the umpire goes, what? And threw him out of the game. So he only threw 4 pitches. He was out of the game. So July 8th, they went ahead and started him, and he threw 3 innings. The All-Star break hit. And the first game after the All-Star break, Zach came out and pitched that game too. So it's not quite the same, but he did throw 5 innings against the Pirates. So technically, Zach Greinke threw 3 straight games for 2012. He was probably a Royal then, I would think. Kansas City Royal. So how about that? That's a unique, weird stat right there. So that
I remember, I think my memory is correct on this. In the mid-70s, Wilbur Wood started both games of a doubleheader for the White Sox. He was a knuckleballer too.
So how about that, man? They wouldn't allow that these days unless everybody didn't show up at the ballpark or something. That's about that.
I think it was a 74 or 75 season. Wilbur Wood had already had 13 wins in 14 starts, and it wasn't even June yet because he was pitching every 3rd day with a knuckleball. And he finished the season 24 wins, 20 losses. But he started this season 13-0, and it wasn't even the summer yet. 13-1 he started. Yeah. So,
golly, how about that? Well, I have a few. This is the only other thing about the numbers and everything. The average speed of a fastball in the major leagues is 94 miles an hour. In 2002, the average speed was 89 miles an hour. So in those 23 years, the average pitcher is just it's just getting faster and faster and faster. Any changeup speed. Oh, the average changeup speed in the major leagues right now is 85. So look at that. These guys have to face that, Vince, at least a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and then they're getting an 84 coming at the same arm angle. It's amazing that these guys can hit it all. I'm just blown away by how accurate they are and how good they are. I know they trained their whole lives, but that's just amazing. Now, here's a question, a little trivia here. The biggest difference, there was a guy who pitched from 2010 to 2023 named Fernando Abad, and the difference between his fastball and his changeup was 35 miles an hour. Can you imagine that? 35 miles an hour. And so that's basically it for by the numbers. And Vince, there was two more moves. I don't know if you know, but today when I got home, I turned on the TV and it was announced that Craig Kimbrell just got signed by the Atlanta Braves. He's the all-time Atlanta Braves saves leader. They have a closer, but he'll be in the bullpen. And I don't know how you feel about that as maybe some insurance or trying to hang on another year or find it. But they brought him back for this year.
I don't know. I'm kind of surprised at that because his season was so bad last year. And we'll see. We'll see how long
We'll see. We'll see. And the other announcement today is Patrick Corbin, a name I haven't heard in a while. He got signed to a deal with the Texas Rangers. I'm big on the Rangers this year, and maybe that's just you can't have enough pitching, first off. And I think that's kind of a low. You don't have to go out on a limb. And if he catches fire, that's great. If he doesn't, you weren't expecting him to be a start in the rotation anyway. So maybe that's a good move, and I'm pulling for him this year. But that was the two moves that happened today.
Yeah, I did not see that. So, anything else?
No, Vince, that's about it as far as general baseball news.
What's going on in Jupiter?
Oh, we're getting down to the final stretch here, Vince. We got a few games at Jupiter, and then Monday, the Cardinals and the Memphis Redbirds will play. If it was Sunday, I was thinking about trying to go down there and get down there real early in the morning, go eat barbecue, and then go over to the game. But it's Monday, so I can't go. But there's a few battles still taking place. It's center field, really. It's Michael Ciani and Victor Scott II. Ciani, great defensive player, but he just doesn't hit much. And this year, until last weekend, he didn't hit a lick. And but still playing very good defense. But Victor Scott II has come on. He's looking relaxed. He's taking good swings. Even when he gets out, he's not striking out much. Last year, he was just overwhelmed. And he stole, the last I looked, 5 bases. To me, this looks like a no-brainer. Maybe Ciani can make the bench. He does have good speed, and he is great defensively. But I think Victor Scott should get that one. And then Luka Baker, a big first baseman with a lot of power. He's led the minors in home runs a year or two, and he looks really good. Maybe a great pinch hitter coming off the bench late in the game. He could be a DH too. I don't see him getting to play much with all the first basemen we have on the team, which is what he is, a first baseman. But he's trying to make the team. Vince, there's a couple of utility guys that look really good down there. One is Cesar Prieto. He's 26 years old. He's a Cuban player, and this kid can do it all. He's going to be a big leaguer one day. Unfortunately, we've got Donovan and Gorman and Wynn in the middle there. He is 26 years old. He's hitting 381. Low strikeouts this spring, 381. 292 is what he's hitting the minors. And in Cuba, he's a superstar, 44-game hit streak down in Cuba. Just a hitter extraordinaire. But right now, we just don't have a place for him, and I don't see him making the team. This is the kid we got in the Jack Flaherty move in the trade to Baltimore. So if nothing else, maybe he could bring us some pitching prospects or something, because there's teams out there that need a second baseman, shortstop, and this kid is pretty darn good. And then we have another, but I don't look for him to make the team at the beginning of the year. And then we have a shortstop named Jose Barrero. And this kid is, they say, the best athlete in spring training. He's fast. He looks like $1 million. He's built. He's 6'4" and 211 pounds and a shortstop. But as you know, we got Mason Wynn at short and JC playing, who can play shortstop too. So, but the kid just doesn't hit very well. He's a 222 lifetime hitter in the minor leagues. So I don't see him making the team either. But man, if he could get it to put it all together, this kid could be something special and a top-notch defender. So we've got all these battles for the last roster spots. Jordan Walker's back from his knee injury where he stepped on the sprinkler head. Oh, Vince, in this day and age, how is that still happening? People stepping on sprinkler heads. My gosh. I'd fire somebody over that. You guys have to put the sprinklers away or get them put back down under the ground. I don't know what they do with them. But Jordan Walker's back, and it's good to see him back. And he had a 10-day, 11-day layoff where he was recouping. So he's back. Should be good for opening day. And Vince, the Cardinals there's talks of them going with a 6-man rotation. I don't see it. McCreevy has really pitched his way into a starter, I believe, and you have Palante, but the problem is you got all these guys making big money, and I don't see the Cardinals just setting these guys that are making the big money. What I'd like to see is Steven Matz go to the bullpen and put McCreevy in the starting rotation. Matz has pitched out of the bullpen before and done a very good job. So that's what I would do, but I can see McCreevy pitching out of the bullpen, which he's done nothing but pitch very, very well for the Cardinals. I'd love to see him in there. And he looks like a guy who's going to be a big part of our future. And this is the kind of year where we need to promote these guys and see what they got. So knowing the Cardinals, he'll be in the bullpen. But if it was me, I'd have him in the starting rotation. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, Vince, I'm very blown away with how good Wilson Contreras is playing first base. This guy looks like he's done it his whole life. Now, I know he's a big league player. He's a catcher. That shortstop and center field are the hardest positions out there. I think he's a very good catcher. I did not know he came up as a third baseman.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So he's agile. You know, it's not like he's just sitting back behind the plate or anything. He's got a great arm. I seen him pull a double play the other day. It was hit. He had to move forward. He came up, threw it to the third shortstop, got back, covered the bag, and got a double play. I'm blown away. We are not losing anything. And of course, now with his bat, I'm so excited for this season for Wilson Contreras. Less chance he can get hurt. Catching is a tough position. Foul balls off your ankles and hands and off your mask. It's just rough. And last year he got hit with a bat, and I think he suffered another injury too. So he's over at first base. You still can get hurt at first base, but I like him in the middle of our lineup playing good defensive first base. I think it's a no-lose situation. He'll be the third catcher on the team because you have Herrera and Podges there. He's very valuable to this team, and I can't wait to watch him play this year. So that's probably it for the Cardinals. The Cardinals have named Sonny Gray as their starter, and a lot of people are going, Sonny Gray, but I believe Vince, you said this before, spring training, you have to throw everything out the window. If you're throwing no-hitters in spring training, that's nice, but it doesn't relate to the regular season. Sonny has been giving up home runs. He's been working on some stuff. There's a part of me going, okay, Sonny, let's turn it on, because I think he's got one more start in the spring. But he's going to be starting that March 27th game against the Twins. So I can't wait to watch him on the mound, and I'm not worried. He's the best one we got. So let's see what happens. But that's it from Jupiter, Vince.
A couple things. Contreras, when he was with the Cubs, he played some left field, and he's a good athlete. He's not like a stiff out there. So first base, yeah, he's gets the footwork down. He's going to be really good at first base. Second thing about Contreras is when he's going to be one of your top 2 or 3 offensive players, really don't need him behind the plate getting hit by bats and stuff like that. You need, for a team that's going through this transition, they need something to bring runs home, and that's one of their best options. So I think the move to first base was just the most intelligent thing they could do. The second thing, going back to the first thing you said, I don't know why the Cardinals would not go with Victor Scott II over
Yeah.
Ciani. Ciani has been in the league for a few years. He got hot with the Cardinals last year. I don't think that's the player he is. I see him as kind of a fourth outfielder that, he's going to have a career where he's going to bounce between the majors and AAA. Victor Scott's got all the speed. He's the future. Throw him out there. Give him the job. And if Ciani makes the team as a fourth outfielder, that's fine. But if he doesn't, uh, he's
Yeah.
not the future. So,
I'm with you, Vince. And I see Burleson being very valuable in that outfield too. So I don't see him even making the team, I don't think.
yeah, he may start AAA. I mean, he's good
Yeah.
insurance to have in AAA, like he was last year, and came up and contributed. So I just think that's kind of the player he is. For the Cubs, we had opening day today. Very excited. I got up at 4 o'clock. I made myself some biscuits and gravy and
Woo!
coffee, and I sat in my pajamas and I watched the game. It was a lot of fun. Um, uh, this is what I'll just kind of go over the game. We started Imanaga. They started Yamamoto, which was a big deal. The first time two Japanese pitchers have started opening game, and being it was in Tokyo, it was really cool. Um, Imanaga looked okay. He didn't give up any hits, but he did give up 4 walks in 4 innings and had a couple of strikeouts. Um, the umpire was erratic. I saw a lot of pitches out of the zone that were called strikes. I saw some pitches in the zone that were called balls. So there was a home plate umpiring issue. But I was watching the marquee uh, recording or the broadcast. I wasn't watching the national broadcast. So I don't know if Fox addressed it, but in marquee, they didn't even address the umpire having a kind of a spotty game. Um, the Cubs jumped out to a 1-0 lead. Dansby got a hit. I think he moved into scoring position on an out. And then Wilson Contreras hit a long double, one hop off the wall, and we were up 1-0. And that was all the offense we could muster. We only got 3 hits. The offense did not look good, but the Dodgers pitching looked great. I will say this about Yamamoto. Um, his splitter is so nasty. It is so nasty. And I was watching a Michael Busch at bat, and he threw him 7 straight splitters.
Mm.
And yeah, I was like, the young guys, the Michael Bushes, the Matt Shaws, um, yeah, they were PCA. They were clueless against the splitter. And I'm excited to see Sasaki tomorrow because apparently his splitter is even more filthy. His is more
Oh,
in the vein of Bruce Sutter, who had the filthiest splitter I've ever seen in my life. So I'm kind of excited to see that. Too bad it's against Cubs, but kind of excited to see that. After 4 innings, Yamamoto or Sasaki, not Sasaki, Jesus, Imanaga, he reached his pitch limit, and they brought in Ben Brown. And Ben Brown gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned in 2 2/3 inning. Has a couple of walks and 5 strikeouts. Uh, what I saw, this was the plan. We're gonna go 60 to 70 pitches with Imanaga, then we'll go 60 pitches with Ben Brown, and they stuck with that plan. Uh, Brown, he's a high fastball, curveball pitcher. And think of Adam Wainwright in his prime. Now, the thing with a high fastball is you have to throw that thing at the top of the zone or right above the top of the zone to get them to chase it. He was so amped up. He was a foot and a half high on a lot of his fastballs. They just weren't competitive pitches. So he was actually getting his curveball over a lot better than his fastball. So they were kind of laying off of the high fastball, forcing him into the zone. And he wasn't helped by the defense. There was an error while he was pitching by Birdie that allowed a run to score, where Birdie tried to throw a double play ball and got the out at second. Then he threw it over Bush's head, trying to make the relay to first. He was never going to get him. He should have just ate the ball, but that kind of opened some floodgates a little. And then Shaw also had an error and a throwing error. So we did not play a good game. We gave up a lot of walks. We had 2 errors. We only had 3 hits. We lost 4-1. Freddie Freeman was a late scratch, and I still don't know why he was a late scratch. So he didn't play, and Mookie Betts is flying back home because he got some kind of a bug. So we played a Dodger team that was a little down, but they're the Dodgers, so they just keep coming. But it was the first game, and there was a lot of people who were losing their crap over the first game, online, like, oh, Craig Counsell can't manage. Why did he bring him on? Whatever. So I thought, okay, judging by the first game, the Cubs are going to be 0-162.
No way.
Not Wilson Contreras, but Miguel Amaya is going to drive in 162 runs on 162 doubles. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Matt Shaw and John Birdie are each going to make 162 errors.
Oh my.
So it's going to be a long season, but I can't wait to see that MVP season of Amaya driving at 162 runs on 162 doubles. So as you can see, I'm not too concerned. It's the first game of the year. We're playing a great team, and we're going up against great pitching. We were competitive until we weren't, until that, I think it was the 5th inning when Brown ran into his issues and Birdie had the overthrow, and the floodgates kind of opened. So tomorrow we will start Justin Steele, and they're going to start Sasaki, and I can't wait to see what Sasaki's throwing. But it's baseball. And as I told a friend of mine, I've said it on here many times, what I love about baseball is even in your worst season, you're still going to wake up 60 times happy. It's, even White Sox fans woke up 41 times happy the next day. And so I may not wake up happy tomorrow, and then I may not wake up happy again on Thursday because they lost, but hey, man, they'll be fine. They'll keep working.
Oh, yeah. Vince, a couple of things I noticed. They had the Japanese folks are very polite. They love the game. The Dodgers had a workout, and 10,000 people showed up just to watch the Dodgers, stretch and run the bases and take batting practice and stuff like that. I will say it's a neutral site, but it feels like you guys are the visiting team. Everything seems to be, and it's because of Ohtani, of course.
Yeah.
It's Ohtani centric. They have a Dodger exhibition where you walk down his hall and the Dodgers through the years, and gold gloves and batting titles and silver sluggers, all of the Dodgers. I was like, as a Cardinal fan, I was like, wait a minute, where's the Cub stuff? They did have a Cub rooting area, and they had the W flag they were giving to the fans. And I did see a lot of Cub fans there, and that's cool. But it's heavy on the Dodgers, which I understand. Dave Roberts, I did not know his mother was Japanese. So, and his father was a Marine, and they met over there. So he was born in Japan. I did not know that. So that's another little piece of the puzzle there, where these fans. And I tell you what, the Dodgers signing Ohtani and now have the 2 other Japanese players. That country is going crazy for the Dodgers. There's 17 Ohtani jerseys everywhere. That whole stadium was packed with them. Although I did see some Justin Turner jerseys, and he got two kids out of the crowd and took a picture with him, and they had like fake orange beards and stuff. And I thought that was so great. This has been great. I watched the Cub practice game against the Tigers over there, and after the game, they got on the field and shook hands and took a group picture together.
Yeah.
I thought that's the way it should be. It's like hockey. After they beat the crap out of each other, they skate by and they hug and shake hands. I really enjoyed that sportsmanship aspect of the game. But Vince, that the Dodgers are just so good, and I believe the Cubs are a very, very good team. But the Dodgers are so good, they're going to get beat at least 45 times this year. But you have to be on your best. They've got so much talent. You can have them on the ropes, but if you don't finish it, man, they're going to figure out a way. Somebody big is going to step up, and they scare me. That team looks like something truly special, and I think the Cubs are one of the better teams in baseball. And so you guys go in tomorrow, split with them, and come back with a split. I think everybody, all of a sudden, all those people bad-mouthed the Cubs will be like, I knew we'd do it. They'll jump back and forth and back and forth. But, man, it was fun watching baseball, and two of the greatest organizations, the Cubs and Dodgers, going at it over Japan. That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the game, and it was really cool. Max has to be at work at 7. He's got about a half-hour drive, so he watches about the first hour while he's getting ready for work. So we had a few texts back and forth.
Oh.
I think one of the coolest things that happened was that the Japanese fans were chanting PCA, which was really cool. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the game, and tomorrow's game will be on at 5 in the morning.
I'll be there
on FS1, Marquee, or MLB.TV. And I'm pretty stoked for it again.
Oh, yes. All right, man.
So the Cubs are in last place right now, a half game behind the rest of the Central.
Thank you for the generosity of giving us a half game. We need every bit we can get this year.
Do you know who went to that Japanese game?
No. Jeremy Connor went to the game?
That's the rumor that he was in Japan watching the game.
All right, Jeremy Connor.
Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. So we're going to do a couple of spotlights. JJ, who are you spotlighting?
Friend of the show, close personal friend, Jason Motte. Jason Motte. There he is, right? And getting a hug from Molina and the rest of the team after 2011.
And I am going to spotlight another close personal friend of the show, Hack Wilson.
Oh, I love Hack Wilson.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's been dead since the 40s. So, but
anyway, I got the Ouija board out. He sent his love.
Okay. JJ, why don't you start off by telling us about Jason Motte?
Oh, I love Jason Motte. Jason Motte is to me, it's a story of perseverance. He's famous for his big beard. He had a big, and he still has that beard to this day, as you can see at the beginning of our podcast. He was drafted by St. Louis in the 19th round in the 2003 draft. He was born in Michigan, and he went to school up in New York. So he's been all over the place. He was drafted as a catcher. So Jason Motte came up as a catcher. Let's see. He was converted to a pitcher in 2006. So he was drafted in 2003 through 2006. He was a catcher, and things just didn't go real well for him. In 2003, he played for the Peoria Chiefs, which is our A-ball team. And in 48 games, he had 4 errors and 5 passed balls. Now, that's not terrible. A-ball, you're a young kid, you're coming in there and trying to make a name for yourself. And he had a heck of an arm, and they were noticing that. But as far as his hitting, he was a light hitter. 2003, he hit 222. 2004, he hit 175, and in 2005, he hit 176. So with his bat, he wasn't going to make it. But and in '05, he went to the IR with a thumb fracture, and he had only made it up in those 3 years just a high A ball in Palm Beach. So let's see. He started pitching in 2006, and I had some stats on him. Um, let's see. Oh, in 2006, this was the stats from all of his minor leagues of catching. He was hitting a 188 average, had 21 walks, 13 doubles, had hit 4 home runs in 209 games. So he only made it up one notch in those 3 years, and things weren't looking good. But here was the kicker: he had thrown out 53 of 109 base stealers down there, and that's a 49%. And and they noticed how fast he was throwing down there. He would throw down and get batters in 1.78 seconds, which sounds to me that sounds fast. So they turned him over to a pitcher, and within 2 years, his strikeout rate was, I have it here somewhere. He 14.8 Ks per 9 innings down in the minors. They made him a bullpen guy, and he made his way up very quickly in 2 years. And in 66 and 2/3 innings, he struck out 110 guys. So they brought him up as a middle reliever. In those years, he slowly, LaRussa had like three guys he would rotate in there. And when they put him in, struggled at first, but then he took over. And I give Tony all the credit in the world making him a closer, because in he let's see, in the 6 years with the Cardinals, he was 18-13 with a 3.03 ERA. In 2011, he got the save in the NLCS, and he got the final out of the 2011 World Series, as you see in that picture. And this is the thing about this guy. He didn't pitch in high school, never threw a pitch in high school. He went to college, never threw a pitch in college. And all of a sudden, after 3 years in the minors, he decides, hey, I'm going to be a pitcher. And he went down there and he worked. He had a strong arm, but he was young at the time, too. Let's see. In 2012, he had 40 saves, and he led the National League in saves. And he joins just a handful of Cardinal relievers that have had 40 or more saves: Bruce Sutter, Jason Isringhausen, Trevor Rosenthal, and Ryan Helsley. So he's one of 5 guys with over 40 saves for the Cardinals. He got hurt after that year and had Tommy John surgery, and he bounced around. I know he was with the Cubs and had a real good year with Cubs, with Atlanta and Colorado. And finally, at the end of his career, 2018, he signed to come to spring training and did not make the team out of spring training and retired then as a Cardinal. But today, he is in 2018, he became a coach on the University of Memphis baseball team. And then in 2022, he became the head coach of the Christian Brothers High School in Memphis, where he is still the head coach of the team down there, still a part of the game. And talking to him was a treat, and he had such enthusiasm. And I'm glad guys like that who had a nice career are out there working with the young players and making a difference out there. So I'll always have a special place in my heart for Jason Motte, and have loved watching him through the years, and was just a big Cardinal. And Vince, time goes by so quickly. We see these guys come up, the careers. And hey, if you have a 4-year window that's I'll say Jason Motte had probably a 6-year window where he was very, very good. So thanks for the memories, Jason, and you are my spotlight tonight.
Yeah, Mott threw almost nothing but fastballs too. You knew it was coming. He was like Goose Gossage. You know what's coming, and still had a hard time hitting it.
Yeah, that year he had with you guys was a great. I think it was 8-1 that year he had with you guys.
Yeah, he was kind of a 7th inning type guy. We had some young arms at that time: Hector Rondon, Carl Edwards Jr., Pedro Strop. We had some young guys that were really good, and I think his influence was felt in the clubhouse. And we actually made the playoffs that year in 2015 and beat the Cardinals in the playoffs.
You sure did.
Oh, so but I remember the winter before the season when um, he walked into Cubs convention with a Cub jersey on. I was like, oh my gosh, we got Jason Motte. That's kind of cool.
Hey, yeah.
Well, I'm going to look at Hack Wilson, Hall of Famer Hack Wilson, who had one of the greatest offensive seasons in the National League. Um, he was born on April 26, 1900, in the Pennsylvania steel mill town of Elwood City, which is north of Pittsburgh. His mother was Jeannie excuse me. She was 16. She was an unemployed drifter from Philadelphia. His father, Robert Wilson, was 24. Yeah, that's kind of like illegal. Was a steel worker, and his parents never married, and both his parents were heavy drinkers. And in 1907, his mother died of appendicitis at the age of 24. Very rough start for Hack's life. In 1916, Hack Wilson left school to take a job at a locomotive factory. So much like you, he liked choo-choo trains. So he was swinging a sledgehammer for $4 a week. Yeah. So he was only 5'6" tall. He weighed about 195 pounds, and he had an 18-inch neck. Okay. And I'm sure swinging a sledgehammer kind of helped fill that frame out too. His shoe size was only 5.5. I have small feet and I wear an 8.5.
Yeah.
5.5, that's kind of like baby feet, you know? So, uh, sports writer Shirley Povich later observed that he was built along the lines of a beer keg and was not wholly unfamiliar with his contents. So, um, while his unusual physique was kind of an oddity, even for that time, his large head, he had a big head, tiny feet, short legs, and broad, flat face. They're now recognized as physical characteristics of someone who had fetal alcohol syndrome, which fits what he grew up in. He made his major league debut with the Giants on September 29th, 1923, at the age of 23, and became the starting left fielder the following season in 1924. By mid-July of 1924, he was ranked second in the National League in hitting, and he ended the season with a .295 average with 10 home runs, 57 runs batted in, and New York won the National League pennant. In the 1924 World Series, his average was only .233 in the 7-game loss to the Washington Senators. So 1925 season, after slumping, he was sent to Toledo to play for the Mud Hens. After that season, he was left unprotected, and nobody is sure if that was just an error or if the Giants thought, we don't want to mess with him because he was a rough character. So he was left unprotected, and the Cubs picked him up on waivers. So he was the Cubs starting center fielder in 1926, and he became a fan favorite for the bleacher mums out there. On May 24th, he hit the center field scoreboard with one of the longest home runs in Wrigley Field history. And I kind of picture like the Natural when Roy Hobbs shatters the clock. That's kind of cool. And he hit that long home run, and the Cubs came from behind to defeat the Boston Braves. Later that same evening, he made news again when he was arrested during a police raid of a Prohibition-era speakeasy while trying to escape through the rear window. He was fined $1.
Oh, man.
Which is like 2.5 days of swinging a sledgehammer.
That's true. That's true. That's brutal.
But he ended the season in 1926 with the Cubs with a league leading, are you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
21 home runs, Along with
Oh,
36 doubles, he had 109 RBIs, a 321 batting average, and a 406 on base percentage. The Cubs improved that year. They made it all the way up to fourth place, and Wilson ended the year ranked fifth in the voting for the National League Most Valuable Player award. Now, at that time, it wasn't the official award we have now. They were just kind of a newspaper would say that it wasn't really an official award. So in 1927 with the Cubs, he posted a 318 average and he slugged 30 home runs with 129 RBIs. And he led all National League outfielders with 400 putouts. He led the National League in home runs for a third consecutive year in 1928, along with 120 RBIs and a 313 average as the Cubs improved to third place. So Wilson, the Giants gave up very early on, but when he went to the Cubs, it was a combination of power and batting average, and he was for a squatty guy, he was a good outfielder. 400 putouts is
oh
not
yeah.
not nothing to sneeze at. But Wilson did have a combative streak and sometimes instigated fights with opposing players and fans. On
Uh-oh.
June 22nd, 1928, a near riot broke out in the ninth inning at Wrigley Field against the St. Louis Cardinals when Wilson jumped into the box seats to attack a heckling fan. An estimated 5,000 spectators swarmed the field before police could separate the combatants and restore order. The fans sued Wilson for $20,000, which in today's world is $8 trillion. But
Yeah.
the jury ruled in Wilson's favor. So in 1929, Hack hit 345, another 39 home runs, and led the league with 159 RBIs. So
Woo.
it is the 1930 season that put him in infamy. Now, 1930, they had a livelier ball. They retooled how they were making the baseball. And aided by this lively ball that was wound with special Australian wool, it's considered one of the best single season hitting performances in baseball history. By the middle of July, he had accumulated 82 RBIs. In August, he hit 13 home runs and 53 RBIs in 1 month. Wow.
Woo.
By September 17th, he had reached 174 RBIs, breaking Lou Gehrig's major league record established 3 years earlier. He finished the season with 190 RBIs, which has since been amended to 191 RBIs because they went through the records and realized, oh, there was one RBI not counted. So he has 191 RBIs that season, along with a then National League record of 56 home runs, a 356 batting average, a 454 on base percentage, and a league leading 723 slugging percentage. He was unofficially, because it wasn't official, voted the National League's most useful player by the Baseball Writers Association of America, and that kind of blossomed to the baseball writers doing an official MVP. But his success in his 1930 season was difficult for him to live with, and it fueled his drinking habits. And in 1931, he reported to spring training 20 pounds overweight. And I'm not going to fault the guy because if I showed up to spring training right now, they'd say, you're 20 pounds overweight. So I'm not going to fault him for that. So the 1930 season, they introduced a new baseball that was heavier and it had raised seams. And that meant that the ball was not going to go as far because it's heavier. With the raised seams, you have the curveball with extra break on it and your slider with extra break on it. So things changed. On September 6th, he was suspended without pay for the remainder of the season after a fight with reporters aboard a train in Cincinnati. At that time, he was hitting 261 with only 13 home runs at the time. So the drinking, the new baseball, it all caught up with him. So the days of the 300 batting averages and tons of home runs, those kind of ended. On December 1931, the Cubs traded Wilson along with Bud Teachout to the Cardinals for Burley Grimes. Less than a month later, not even beginning of spring training, the Cardinals sent him to the Brooklyn Dodgers for minor league outfielder Bob Parham and $25,000 cash, which is about $576,000 in current dollars. He did have a decent year for the Dodgers. He hit 297 with 23 home runs, 123 RBIs in that 32 season with Brooklyn. But that was kind of his swan song. He faded fast from there and was out of the game. On October 4th, 1948, he was discovered unconscious after a fall in his home. Although the accident did not appear to be serious at first, pneumonia set in and other complications developed, aided by alcoholism, and he died of internal hemorrhaging on November 23rd, 1948, at the age of 48. After baseball, he tried a lot of things. He tried working in a bar, owning a bar. He tried other ventures and just could not seem to get his life on track. Then again, it's kind of hard when, fetal alcoholism, you're basically born with the traits of an alcoholic.
Right.
And so once you start drinking, and it's, back then everybody drank,
Yeah.
So it was a difficult life for him. And when you see pictures of Hack Wilson, he does look like a sad person. I've never seen a picture of Hack Wilson where I thought, hey, there's Hack smiling and looking like he's enjoying a day at the ballpark. But a volatile guy, and he did eventually make it. The veterans voted him into the Hall of Fame. Could have been so much more if he, didn't have the drinking issues, but he did. But Hack did give one memorable season. He still holds the major league record for the most RBIs in a season. He had that National League home run record for the longest time, and he's part of the Cubs Hall of Fame and a good memory that we have. So,
yeah, that guy's a legend. Vince, what I think about is those years, and you see him, and he was just when he's not around other players, he's just a big hulking guy. But as far as his neck and his chest and his arms, but life back then was rough. I'm talking about, I have pictures of great grandparents that were just one generation over here, and they worked their butts off. And Vince, we just got one picture of them. They didn't go out and find a nice field to take a picture. They're standing in a dirt road with an old cat. Their fists are doubled up. They're hollow-eyed, and they look like they're about ready to kick some butt. That was just rough even back then. And I don't know about our family and drinking. We've always been Southern Baptists, but I hold my end up of the deal. But we have a lot of them that fell off the wagon a long time ago. But golly, I can't imagine the things he went through and the type of life. And folks just didn't live very long back then. It was just a rough existence. So God love him. But I think of him as one of the all-time greats. That RBIs and those years. I didn't know how many years without looking it up. I thought he had like 8, 9 really good years. I didn't know. But when I think of the Cubs, he's one of the first 3 names that comes up. I really think of Greg Maddux, Ernie Banks, and Hack Wilson are the 3 Cubs that come to mind when I think of the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, I think of Brooks Kieschnick. I think of Dave Rosello, and I think of George Mitterwald. That's what I think of when I think of the Cubs.
Turk Wendell. When I brush my teeth, I think of Turk Wendell.
Yeah, you got to brush your teeth because you just ate licorice. So
you're on fire tonight. Woo.
You're a wrestling fan. When I see
yeah.
Wilson, who also has that body type?
Rhino, like a rhino, maybe.
Kind of like Rhino, but I always think of that old wrestler from Milwaukee, the Crusher.
The Crusher, yes.
Yeah,
him and Dick the Bruiser.
Yeah,
AWA champs.
He was a short guy with this big, thick body. He wrestled like forever, and he just, even when he was an old man, he just looked like a guy who just, don't mess with him. He just came out of the bar.
He had a big cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
Tough dude. Oh yeah.
Well, JJ, I have the 1990 edition of the Collector's Choice of Major League Baseball in the nice green foil package.
Very fancy. Well, mine's not as fancy. I have Fleer, which I forgot. I think these are not the prettiest cards. Fleer 1987, but I found a pack of them, and they got a logo sticker. So look out. That's what I'm opening. Vince, you go first. You got the pretty cards.
Speaking of wrestling, do you remember that wrestler, Ric Flair?
Oh, yeah, I know Ric Flair. Yes, I do. And his daughter wrestles too.
Oh, how many Hall of Famers you think I got? Okay, I should have looked at the first card. I'm going to say 2 Hall of Famers.
Well, okay. I was going to say two, so I'm going to say three. Since you looked at the front card, there's probably one right there.
Yeah, there's the man, one of the greatest hitters I
yeah.
ever saw, Tony
Yes,
Gwynn.
me too. One of the best.
Oh, the guy who was traded for no, excuse me, John Smoltz, went to the Tigers and went like 12-1 down the stretch. They made a playoffs that year.
Doyle Alexander?
Alexander.
Yes. He had a nice career.
He did. He did. Here's the most unfortunate named pitcher in baseball. He was pretty good though. Bob Walk.
Bob Walk. Yes, he was. I think he played for Atlanta too. Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and Atlanta.
Yeah. We had this guy last week, Pasquale's brother, Melito Perez.
Oh, yeah. Nice hair. Had that fancy hair.
Here's a collector's card, Philadelphia Phillies. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
Von Joshua, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe Von Joshua?
He-
It
was
might
he-
say on the back.
No, it's just got
No?
it's not Dykstra.
Hmm.
Yeah, Von Hayes is still on the team in 90, so yeah, that looks like
Von Hayes. I said Von Joshua. You're right. Von Hayes.
Yeah,
Got
Von
my
Joshua
Bonds.
played for the Giants. Then I got another card, the very same card. So
Oh. Your bicycle's going to have a lot of sounds this
yeah, I got that joke. Former manager of the Sox, who played shortstop for the Sox, Ozzie Guillen.
Oz again. He's kind of a hothead. I liked him.
Oh, we talked about him a few weeks ago. The man with the mad dash home, even though he only ran very slow. Sid
Oh, yes.
got this Braves sticker.
Oh, very nice.
Here is a former Met, former Expo, QB Brooks.
Oh, I think I would say Mike Jorgensen for some reason.
Looks like the
Met
umpire
Expo.
is hugging him.
Looks like they might be dancing, doing a
Yeah.
little cha-cha.
Well, whatever. First steroid user in baseball, Ryan Downing. Sorry.
Was he? Right down in what the heck?
I just know when I was a kid, he was a catcher for the White Sox, and he wasn't a very good catcher, and he wasn't a very good hitter at the time. Then he went to California, and all of a sudden, I didn't recognize him the first time I saw him because he's like huge, and I kind of think that he was one of the first to artificially inflate. Could be wrong. Look, I got a double again.
Another Brian Downing?
No. You know this guy, former Cardinal, former Dodger, Todd Worrell.
Oh, the rookie of the year. Todd Worrell, yes. 86, I think it was.
Do you remember when the Cubs were in St. Louis and Pedro Guerrero was on the Cardinals and he brought Sammy into the Cardinal locker room and Todd Worrell took exception to that?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of players say, hey, you can talk to each other on the field, but don't bring them in the locker room.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not that. They're the players. It's up to them.
Former Brave pitcher Pete Smith.
I remember Pete Smith. He was going to be the big fifth starter for him, and he turned out to be okay.
He is okay. Good pitcher, former All-Star for the Orioles, and then for the Red Sox, had a forkball, Mike Boddicker.
Oh yeah, nice pitcher.
Yeah, I like the unshaven look on the front, and then on the back, there's the picture that Mom likes.
Yeah.
My mom did not like facial hair. So.
Oh.
All right, Mom.
Yeah.
Wait. So. And then I have a California Angel checklist, and I think that may be Devon White.
It looks like him.
Let me
Yes.
see. Was he on the team? Yeah, Devon White. So yeah. One Hall of Famer, very first card, but Tony Gwynn. Always liked Tony
All
Gwynn.
right. Well, we both were wrong. I said 3. All right, Vince, I got these 87s. How many Hall of Famers in this
Two.
pack right here? 2.
Two.
Okay, I'm going since last pack we had 1, I'm going 1. Well, we start out with stickers here. We got Houston Astros and the Oakland A's. Some stickers there. And on the back is the Detroit Tigers. How about that? Motor City Kitties right there. All right, here we go. Oh, one of the great managers, a good ball player. And here he is with your Cubbies, Terry Francona.
Terry Tito. There you
There
go.
he is. Yeah.
Now the manager.
All right. Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right. This guy was a very good player, like a 4th outfielder, Baltimore Oriole, John Shelby.
Oh yeah.
There he is.
John Shelby,
Nice player.
good player.
These cards look better than I thought. I was really bad mouthing them. Kind of gives you a little thing there, a little trivia at the bottom.
You should feel bad for that.
I do, and I apologize to the Fleer people out there. Please forgive me. This player was a Cardinal at one time, but right here he's a White Sox, and he didn't get any help the year. He pitched a real good year with us. Jose De Leon. I think he played like 3 years, but didn't get any help the year he was with his real good year. He could have been a lot better if we give him any offense at all. I like this guy, San Francisco player Dan Gladden.
Oh yeah, also played for the Twins.
Yeah, that Rob Deere and him, they kind of reminded me of each other, kind of gritty guys. I remember seeing this guy, didn't know a lot about him. This Week in Baseball, Mike Smithson of the Twins. There he is.
Yeah, I remember the name. Nice smile, nice mustache.
Yes. Oh, I vaguely remember this name. I don't know how long he played. Pittsburgh Pirate, Joe Orsulik.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Joe Orsulik right there. Oh, man. When I first got into baseball, this guy was dominating and played for the great Pittsburgh Pirates. Here he is at the end of his career with the Angels, John Candelaria.
The Candy Man.
Yes, I was in the Navy, and supposedly his sister was in a sister company, and her name was Candelaria. And somebody says, "Hey, Jay, that's John Candelaria's sister." And I was like, "Really? Maybe, perhaps."
Do you know that the Dodgers did like a workout, and he showed up with a pot leaf on his shirt, and that's why the Dodgers didn't sign him, and he signed with the Pirates. So yeah, that's a true story.
Really?
Yep.
Bill Lee. One time they asked Bill Lee, "Do you like playing on AstroTurf?" And he said, "I don't know. I never smoked it." That was just a little joke about that.
You prefer AstroTurf or natural grass?
Never. Barry, you told him way better than me. I screwed it up. My favorite Chicago Cub player, he did play for the Cardinals. A lot of Cardinals and Cubs have went back and forth, but just a number 1 draft choice for the Cubbies, Sean Dunston. There he is.
Yeah.
To me, best arm I've ever seen at shortstop.
Yep.
That guy right there. This guy has actually been mentioned on the Seinfeld show, and here he is with Seattle, Ken Phelps. I don't know if you knew that, but one time,
not a huge Seinfeld watcher, so.
Oh, Larry David was playing George Steinbrenner, and George's dad was like, "You're killing our team. He traded Ken Phelps to the Seattle," and he was yelling at him of all the players he traded, So that was one of them. Okay, I have trouble with this guy's last name. He played for a while. Steve Buechele, is it?
Yeah,
from
Steve
Texas
Buechele.
Rangers.
Played for the Rangers, and he played for the Cubs.
I thought he played for the Cubs.
Yeah.
I thought he did. San Francisco Giant first baseman Mike Alderete.
Already, yeah.
Yeah. Mainly, I remember him more as a bench guy.
Pitch hitter, yeah.
Houston Astro had a nice career. Jim Duchesne's right there.
Cub color commentator.
Now, this guy is not a Hall of Famer, but a Hall of very, very good, and he had a stretch. Vince, we talked about that. Would you rather just be pretty good for a long time or great for just a little while? This guy was pretty good for a long time. Dave Stewart. There he is with that stare. It's got that stare there. I got two left. Minnesota Twin Jeff Reed. There he is with his batting gloves, looking good. And my last one is Chicago White Sox Bob James. Right there, the Bob James
No Hall of
experience.
Famers.
No Hall of Famers. Dave Stewart, Hall of Very Good.
Hall of Very Good, yeah. Yeah. If he had that like 4-year stretch where he won 20 games every year with Oakland, and then he went to Toronto and had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
But he only had like a 5-year window where he was really good, and the rest of his career he was average to below average.
It took him a while to get going. He played with the Phillies and the Rangers, kind of bounced around the league, and all of a sudden, and Vince, this guy could be a Hall of Famer. Dave Duncan could take pictures. He had a long success rate. It wasn't just one or two. There was quite a few. And Dave Stewart was one of those guys, Reclamation Project, and became a great pitcher for them. Bob Welch kind of was on the downslide, went out to Oakland and found himself again.
And the thing that I think is interesting, it's not the guys like Welch and Dave Stewart, it's the Kent Bottenfields, players like that who suddenly would come out of nowhere and have a great year. And then without Duncan, just never the same. And I don't know why he doesn't get Hall of Fame consideration. I don't know. Are there any like pitching coaches? Leo Mazzoni. There's been some great pitching coaches.
Well, I think of like hitting coaches too, like Charlie Lau. A lot of guys he worked with, and there was that Lau style. But there's just it's usually on the coaching world, it's managers. I don't know if there's ever been so much as a coach that's ever made the Hall of Fame. We'll have to go back and research that. But if there's anyone who deserves it, Dave Duncan, not just because he was a Cardinal. He coached other places, was a player for a long time, and just a big piece of baseball history right there. So Dave Duncan. Matter of fact, he's in the Cardinal Red Jacket Club, but he's not in the MLB Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Well,
JJ, next week when we talk, we will have our episode that is right before the opening. Season's open, but you know what I'm talking about. So those of you who are out there who are still listening, still hanging in there with us, please, if you would like to be on the podcast, we would love to have your opinion. We want a big roundtable. We want to talk about the season. The only thing that we ask is whenever you're on our show, keep it positive. I mean, there's enough negativity going on, other sports arenas and stuff like that. We try hard not to be that show. We try to be the show that, hey, it's kind of fun to be a baseball fan. So,
yeah.
Well, JJ, you have a great week, and I will see you next week.
Go Cubbies.
Go Cubbies. Go Cards.
Thank you.